not moving. I don't think he's dead, he's not floating on the top. The only pet I have, he's a little cute blue betta fish. Yes, my pet is Alpha the Beta. I thought it was clever at the time.
Wow.
But he used to be so jovial and frisky, and he just lays there. I don't think he's moved for a couple of weeks, but I'm not sure because I can't really see him that well through all the murk and the cloudiness and the grunginess in the water. It makes me think back to a time in my life where I was on the bottom. And I didn't have motivation. And I didn't want to do anything, and I had no energy, and I felt like the life was being sucked out of me. A time in my life when I was surrounded in the pollution that I'd allowed to build up around my life, where I couldn't see ahead of me. Well, I had to pick Alpha the bowl up. It's time to clean this thing, because you know what? Alpha can't fix his own water. I'm responsible for my bowl, but I'm responsible for his too, so I've got to fix this. I picked Alpha up and I took him over to the kitchen sink. Now Alpha didn't like that. He didn't like it because I shook his world up. He was no energy, but he was comfortable down there on the bottom, just laying there. And I shook everything up and sloshed the water around and I scared him. And then it got worse because I set him down in the kitchen where the colors are different and the light's different. And then he probably looked up and saw this thing break the surface of the water coming right at him. My scoop that I used to pull him out of the bowl. I hadn't seen that much energy out of that little fish in weeks. He was dipping around the bowl, trying to get away from me. I'm just trying to help him. I managed to scoop him up, take my little plastic cup, get a little of that grungy water in there, and put the fish in there from off the side. In my life, when it came time to evaluate, see what my life was like, and realize it was time to dump the pollution out of my life, get it out of there, do something different, I was afraid. See, now Alpha sits there in this little cup. And he's still in that bad water, but now he's even restricted. He has nowhere to go, nowhere to move. He has no space. It's even worse for him, but it's necessary to make the change. The first thing I had to do was get rid of the pollutants in my life, negative people. I had to think back to that guidance counselor in high school that told me essentially I was too stupid to go to college. He didn't say it in those words, but that's what he meant. I had to think back to every time I had to stand up and speak in a class, I was scared to death. I'd be sick. I'd just be sick that day. Because the other kids would make fun of me. I was scared to death. I was so shy. I had to think through the process of being out of money, trying to get myself through college to prove that I could do it, but not having the money and having to work 2 jobs and feeling like I was never going to get through. It took me 10 years to get through college before I earned my master's degree. So I have to take the bowl and dump all that garbage down the sink. All that grunginess, pull that plastic plant out of there, clean it all off, swish clean water around there, and get all that pollution and garbage out of that bowl. Some of the pollution from Alpha himself swimming in it, and some of it from the outside. Dust and dirt that collects in the bowl. The extra food, I overfed him a couple times. He never ate it, and it just turns to muck and dissolves and turns nasty in the water. And in my life, I have those things that were in my water, the negative people, the stuff I was pumping into my head. Television shows. Songs. I was a hardcore metalhead. You ever listen to some of those lyrics? I'm an all. Love the music, but not the good message to drive that into your brain. I had to make changes. I had to stop listening to people who were telling me I couldn't do things. First step was to dump the pollution out. Now, full of fresh water in there. Fill up the bowl. The fresh water replaces the pollution. And that is the next step, but it's so hard to get that step of getting the pollution out because of fear. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid if I take these people out of my life that are negative, I may not have any friends. I'm afraid that if I try hard at the next class, I'm not good at math. What if I failed that? I got to try again. Just prove to me that they were right all along. I am too stupid to go to college. What if they laugh at me? What if my family says, you'll never amount to anything because you tried and you failed? Or worse yet, what if I succeeded? What if I made it? Would I lose friends? Would they be jealous of me? As I succeed and move along? Would people question my motives and think, he must have done this dishonestly, even if I did it with full integrity, because they don't understand what it took to get there. See, I'm as afraid of succeeding as I am of failing. But it's two sides of the same coin. The coin is called the fear of the unknown. I don't know either way what's going to happen, and that makes me afraid. clean water back in my life, and that means inspirational books, that means positive music, that means surrounding myself with people that tell me I can do things, we can help each other. Groups like this. There's another step though. I have to put some conditioner in that water. See, the conditioner makes the water last. It neutralizes the chemicals, takes some of the impurities out, makes the fish very happy. In my life, I needed that little extra conditioner, something to preserve it. And I found that. I found that in my church, in Bible study, in prayer. I found that in people of like-minded faith that could support me, encourage me, we helped each other. Well, I go back to Alpha, I put him back in his bowl, and for just a moment he's stunned and confused and doesn't know what's going on, and then he realizes, there's oxygen in my gills. I'm happy again. And he's swimming and doing backflips around. I'm like, that's the happy little fish I like. I was able to pick him up and put him back where he belonged. Oh, he was a happy little camper. In my life, once I made those changes, I was productive. I was positive. I looked forward to getting up every day. I was able to help people and do things. I was able to get through school. I wanted so bad to photocopy that MBA and send it off to that guidance counselor and say, yeah, what do you think of me now? But I was beyond that by then because I didn't care anymore about it. My dad, for the first time in his life, told me he was proud of me. He said he always knew I could do it, but he had never told me that before. My question to you today, how's the water in your bowl? Is it clean and clear? Everything's good? Can you see where you're going? Or are you at the bottom, wishing you could move up the top? Do you need to make a change? Do you need to dump out the pollution? Go through that discomfort? Go through that pain? Do you need to replace that with what's good, what's positive, what's excellent, what's a good report? My question to you, what step do you take tomorrow to change your